I took a sword for Xu Jian, rendering me infertile for life. He stayed by my bedside for 3 days and 3 nights, crying until I awoke, promising to marry me. But less than a year after our marriage, he fell in love with a lively and clever tofu seller. When she was 3 months pregnant, he allowed her to feed me poisoned food. He mocked me, calling me nothing more than a barren hen. As the poison took effect, Xu Jian held my hand at my bedside and sighed. Liuang, don't blame me. If you hadn't died, my child would have been born of a concubine. For the past year, I've given you the respect due to a mistress, ensuring you had enough to eat and drink. That is already repaying the kindness of your sword. Your death will fulfill the name of my beloved wife. You've died a worthy death. Hate welled up within me. I pulled out a hairpin and plunged it into his lower body. He made me infertile. I'll make him childless. But after he strangled me to death when I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I saved him. But this time, I didn't go back. The cramping pain from my abdomen was like 10,000 steel needles churning inside my innards. It was the agonizing pain of the Headinghong poison taking effect. I curled up in the straw pile of the moldy woodshed, listening to the music of strings and flutes coming from the main house not far away. That was Xu Jian celebrating his kept mistress Wang Linglong conceiving another child, and also celebrating that I, this woman who was his principal wife in name but a decoration in reality, was finally about to die. Liuang, don't blame me. Years ago, you damaged your womb to save me, leaving you barren for life. If I let you keep the position of the mistress of the house, how would my Xu family line continue? Xu Jian's hypocritical voice seemed to still echo in my ears, carrying a tone of condescending charity. For this past year, I've given you the honor of the mistress, and haven't stinted on your food or drink. That was already repayment for the kindness of taking that sword for me back then. Now, using your death to fulfill the title of my beloved wife, you can consider yours a death well died. I hate that I was so blind back then, that I actually took that sword slash during the startled horse incident for such a heartless bastard. I hate that my status as the Grand Tutor's legitimate daughter actually became a stepping stone for his career, only for me to end up dying such a miserable death. I could no longer suppress the metallic sweetness in my throat. I violently spurted out a mouthful of black blood, and my consciousness sank into boundless darkness and agonizing pain. Miss, watch out! A shrill scream exploded like a thunderclap, forcibly dragging me back from the abyss of hell. The sensation of suffocation vanished, replaced by the noisy clamor of voices and the overwhelming earthy scent of street life. I snapped my eyes open, gasping for air, cold sweat soaking my back. Before me wasn't that dark, cramped woodshed, but the blindingly sunny, bustling market of the capital. I am not dead. No, not only am I not dead, but this scene, it is so familiar. 3 jang ahead, a fiery date, red horse with bloodshot eyes and foaming at the mouth, clearly having gone mad, was raising its bowl-sized iron hooves, neighing as it charged wildly in our direction. And beside me, that man in a moon, white brocade robe, looking panic-stricken and trying to hide behind me, was none other than Xu Jian. In my previous life, it was this very moment. This was a crazy horse the 9th prince had deliberately arranged to test Xu Jian. In my past life, seeing Xu Jian frozen on the spot, I threw myself over without thinking, using my frail body to block that fatal collision for him. The horse-slave's sword pierced my lower abdomen, destroying my womb and ruining my life. And Xu Jian, completely unharmed. Liuang, quick, save me! Xu Jian screamed in terror. The folding fan that he valued more than his life had long been thrown to the ground. Instinctively, he reached out, trying to violently yank me in front of him to be his meat shield. Just like in the past life. Want me to die again, in your dreams. In that instant, the blood in my entire body seemed to freeze, only to then boil with the hellfire of revenge. Acting almost on physical instinct, I clamped onto the wrist of my maidservant, Tushi, who was scared witless beside me, and summoned every ounce of strength to roll towards the clutter, filled alley on the right. "Get out of the way," I shouted sharply, using the momentum of my fall not only to get myself out of the trampling range of the horse's hooves, but also to stomp viciously on the hand Shu Jian had reached out. That stomp cut off any chance he had of grabbing me. Shu Jian grabbed at empty air, stumbled, and was left completely exposed before the rampaging horse. Boom, accompanied by the teeth, grating sound of shattering bones. A heavy iron hoof stomped ruthlessly onto Shu Jian's right knee, followed immediately by a second stomp that ground heavily over the base of his thigh. That was the sound of bones being crushed into powder. Fresh blood instantly dyed the flagstone road red. Shu Jian couldn't even utter a cry for help. His eyeballs bulged out, and under that massive force of impact, he was kicked flying like a broken rag doll, smashing heavily into a wonton stall where scalding soup splashed all over his body. Some